Listen to the vibes.
The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes Broadcast Network. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. And I'm very privileged to have Mr. Ben Albert here. And we actually met on LinkedIn, one of my favorite sites to go to because you meet some interesting and serious people. And I don't see a whole lot of drama going on there. But you have a podcast and you also help entrepreneurs. And I think you could be beneficial to our audience. So first off, let's hear about you.
Yeah, well, first off, Kyle, humbled to be here, and I love LinkedIn, no drama. I'm a business and self-development nerd, and I like that on LinkedIn you get a little less of the politics, a little less of the cat photos, even though I love cats, and a little more of that. Let's see how we can level up. I'll give you the couple sentence version, then we can take it wherever we want. But I like to live a life of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I joke, it's right on my LinkedIn profile. I ask questions for a living. And when I say I ask questions for a living, there's two main categories that I ask questions in professionally. I've got the podcast, the Real Business Connections Network. We do have 5 shows all under one umbrella. And it's all about asking the right questions and listening and forever staying curious. And then in the marketing firm, it's never a square peg round hole. There is a million solutions to single problems. It's all about determining what's best for the client, getting to know them, asking the right questions, and seeing if I can actually help, seeing if there is a good fit. You know, I guess I'll add a third category is just curiosity in life out of a business context. If anything, I get myself in trouble sometimes, Kyle, because I ask one too many questions when people tell me to sit down and shut up. But I'm all about living a life of curiosity and seeing how I can serve people as I do it.
When you talk to people, what is it that you're looking for in their characteristics and, you know, their business sense?
So I don't open with this, but you asked me this question. I'm looking for who they are, like who they are. I'm not necessarily looking at, 5 employees in this industry or 25 to 50 or this goal. I want to figure out at the core, what is this person all about?
Mm-hmm.
Is there alignment in value set? Do I see them as a hungry, business professional looking to achieve? And if they're hungry, looking to achieve, we've got alignment of values, we get along, then a sales conversation, a business conversation can happen. But if I think they're an asshole, if I think they're non-trustworthy, if I think they're a pain, there's no business conversation, there's no relationship to even build. So I'm looking at to get to know the person. And then if I get to know the person, we can get to know the business and work together on it. If I can help them, but it's really about working with the right people for me.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I know there's a reluctance for smaller businesses to reach out to folks like you because they think, oh, well, I don't have a big company. I'm sure that you're willing to help anyone if they're, the right fit. How can you reassure them? Hey, look, come on, I can help you.
Yeah, so I am not a professional salesperson with a quota and a commission that I'm trying to hit or else I lose my job.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, I've been told I should, I don't charge for my time. Now, if someone wants 8 hours with me, maybe we need to figure something out, but I will talk to anybody for 15 minutes. And if I like you, it might go on for an hour, and I'm not going to charge you a penny because what I do at my firm specifically is implementation. So if someone's new, they're a little green to business, they're just looking for a friend, some advice. Me and my buddy Andrew, we're hosting a bunch of mastermind groups for free. So someone could come to a mastermind group or we'll just jump on a call. We're already talking about jumping on calls. I didn't come here to pitch anybody, Kyle. It's at the end of the day, I'm all about adding value, and my podcast has hundreds of hours of value. Your podcast has hundreds of hours of value. The answers are out there if we just look to go get them.
Yeah, I want to reassure folks that we're here to help everyone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you only have two employees or even yourself. I try to bring people on that can give great advice, and it's tough enough nowadays, and Lord knows we don't need another lockdown, because you've seen what it's done to a lot of business, especially the mom and pop places.
Right.
We want to help them to build their dreams, and you start out maybe one or two of you. I mean, right now it's kind of just me trying to get this podcast going. I mean, yes, we're monetized, and I mean, it's not too bad a crowd. I could be a lot bigger, but can you help someone like me who's just working in the podcast field?
Absolutely. I can't guarantee it. I'm not going to come in and say I have the perfect solution to you. I don't think that there's a golden ticket. I don't think there's a perfect key to solve every problem. I think that it's a combination lock, and each and every person has their own combination. Each and every business has their own combination. It's kind of like a fingerprint scanner. Your fingerprint's unique to you. So I can't guarantee I can help you. You might already know everything. I don't know you that well yet. But I'm always open-minded to have a conversation, because both of us might have blind spots that just having someone come in, ask a couple questions, do a little analysis, they find one blind spot, you go and implement that and change your business. Who knows what we can accomplish? Big things, right?
Oh, yes. Every once in a while, somebody will come on and they'll give me some advice, and I go and I try it, and it has improved things from when I started. That's for sure. But I still feel like there's a lot more to learn, but I also know that if you stop learning, then you're going to be stagnant. You're not going anywhere.
I say it. I used to say it kind of joking. It's kind of serious. It's kind of harsh. One of my podcasts starts off right in the intro. If you're not living, you're dying.
Yeah.
And kind of just breezes through. But when you really think about it, you're either growing or you're depreciating. You're either on an upward trajectory, you're plateauing, or on a downward trajectory. Now, I think even when I'm in my deathbed, I'm still intellectually going to continue to grow. But when you stop growing in the categories that you physically, some people have physical ailments and they can't be a athlete per se. But if you stop growing in the categories you're strong, you're just depreciating. You're just dying. And I'd rather grow than die.
Well, that's for sure. I'm kind of curious as to what makes you tick and what got you into doing all this.
Yeah. To be honest, living a life of anxiety most of my life, and kind of recently coming to terms with all of it. From the age of 0 to 13, I barely spoke a word. I had a couple close friends. We would do the one-on-one, but I was never the life of the party, life of the room. To be honest, when I was younger, I was so quiet that you'd see me kind of pacing back and forth at lunch, at recess, like third grade, pacing back and forth, holding my crotch. Why do you think? Because I have to pee.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm too bashful to walk up to an adult like a lunch monitor and say, hey, I have to use the restroom. So they would actually have to spot me out and be like, Ben, do you have to go pee? I was a very quiet, very reclusive, very weird, kind of creative but odd kid. So from a very young age, I developed curiosity. I developed a love of learning. And, not to mention, I was not just quiet. I was the shortest boy in school, quite literally the shortest boy, the second shortest person in my class behind a little Asian girl, Olivia Lee. So what do you think happened? I got pushed around, I got bullied, and that quiet Ben actually made himself smaller because I was hiding from the world. So through obviously growing up, and we can get into all the things that happened, but finding things I was passionate about, like music and nowadays business and podcasting, and finding hobbies and things I'm passionate about, and a tribe of people passionate about the same thing, suddenly my voice came back because I was able to live in alignment with what I loved, and that's being curious, that's learning, that's having fun, that's music and sports and conversation. So the quiet kid actually was equipped to be a great podcaster because I developed so much curiosity when, maybe a chatterbox was a little more social, but a little less curious. So even like the weirdest, most frustrating, sometimes traumas of my childhood are exactly what made me who I was today. So I'm really proud of that and happy about that.
Oh man, I know what you mean. I got picked on, and I mean to the point where I never wanted to go to school.
Mm.
Always, Mom, I'm sick. I can't go today. That kind of thing, and hanging out with people that I thought would protect me, and finally stood up on my own. And it's like, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore. But I agree with you. It's made me who I am. I have sympathy for people, and I can relate to a lot of folks out there going through depression, anxiety, that kind of thing. And I don't know what else to say other than if you're going through that, uh, you need to find some help.
Mm.
Definitely need to find some help. I don't want to see anyone out there, going through that frustration, that debilitating feeling of, the world's coming down on you. But let's make this more cheerful.
Yeah. Let me just add, I agree. Seek help if needed, seek a friend. You asked me what made me tick, and I talked about like childhood, but I actually tell you what makes me tick. And what really makes me tick and triggered is people that are being intentionally unkind, intentionally rude, and intentionally demeaning to that person that we just define needs a helping hand. So I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I just want to say if we could even be 10% more better, more perfect, and help someone new today, help someone new tomorrow, that person that you helped in the smallest, maybe they're frowning, you just, smile at them, tell them to have a nice day. That can completely create a ripple effect reaction that helps them better long term. So what really makes me tick is assholes, Kyle.
Oh boy. I got you. Those customers that they can't even take yes for an answer. I've dealt with plenty of those, whether
Yep.
it was in retail or working for the city. Oh my gosh. So how do you deal with customers that are like that?
The joking answer is you just smile and wave. You just smile and wave. I don't know if I have a good answer. I think it would be circumstantial. I do say it all the time. Humans create products for humans that fulfill orders to humans, that renew humans, that get referrals from humans, repeat customers from humans, that recommend it to even when you got an automated tool like an online, software as a service tool, it was created by humans for humans. So the best answer I can give you is just treat them as a human. Understand that they could be going through some rough crap. Understand that they could be having a bad day. Understand that the way that they're speaking to you might not be a reflection of who they are. And just understanding and lending them a little bit of grace. Now, granted, at some point, I think you need to cut the cord. If you are working in a retail situation and someone comes in, all they do is steal, disrespect, this and that, create a hostile environment. You need to get rid of them. Granted, we already said it before. Someone needs to find a way to help that person because it sounds like it's a reoccurring pattern. A lot of times that asshole is really just having a bad day and you just don't know it unless you slow down and try to diffuse the situation as best you put on your DJ or radio voice and just diffuse the situation the best you can.
I'd say you have to leave your ego behind when you're dealing with customers.
Yeah.
Those irate ones, and it's very difficult to hold your tongue and be as respectful as you can when you have somebody cussing at you and everything else. Oh man, I could tell you some stories, but we won't get into that today.
Your call, man. Your call.
I am curious to how you feel, and I know this is off subject, but so like at Walmart, they have so many of those self-checkout things. What do you think about those?
I personally like it, which is weird because I got a marketing company and a podcast and I like talking to people. I'm not good at small talk, and a lot of times I'm not in the mood. I'm just doing my shopping. I self-check, good to go. If I get beer, I got my ID ready. It's nice, but I feel like part of why you ask that question is you're almost taking away the conversation and human interaction. I mean, what's coming to my head right now is with self checks and virtual reality and social media. It's possible we're getting very disconnected as people, and I don't think that's a good thing. And that's coming from someone who actually likes his solace and his alone time. I see a big problem in automating human interaction, taking humans and replacing them with robots.
Hmm. Well, I'm the type of person that I love to just talk to people,
Mm,
even if it's to try to make them laugh or whatever. And I go in there and they have all those self-checkout things. I'm old fashioned. I like the old days of just when they just punched it in, not even have to
mm.
scan. They seemed like it was faster when they punched it in for some reason.
It felt better, probably. It felt better.
But you can sit down and you can change someone's day just by trying to make them smile. Granted, it can go the opposite direction, but for the most part, I think you really change people's lives. It could be the difference between them going home and just ending it all, or saying, you know what, I'm going to stick it out another day because somebody tried to make me smile. When we go up to the cashier and they'll say, "Do you want your milk in a bag?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I prefer it in the jug if you don't mind." Sometimes they kind of look at you like, "What?"
What?
And then some get it and they giggle. It's just, it's, I know it's goofy and,
Yeah.
dad joke or whatever, but if it can make somebody smile, why not?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Kyle, because you're noticing a blind spot for me that sometimes I'm not in the mood, so I self-check to avoid. And to be honest, next time at the grocery line, I'm going straight through because why avoid a nice, calm interaction? I'm starting to realize a blind spot in my life that, yeah, yeah, I need to be a little more social and a little more kind to strangers sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, there's enough isolation over the last couple of years that I think it's time we spent more time conversating with, just it could be a total stranger, just to have that human to human contact.
Hmm.
I hate the way things were, and you've already got people that were probably living alone and isolated as it is, and then they were further isolated. What's it done to our psyche? Yeah.
I'd like your opinion on this, and I'm not going to use any names, throw anybody under the bus, but there's people around me in my life, teenager, they'll be on their phone
Mm-hmm.
the entire waking hours, and we're not like just checking, scrolling it, quite literally on video with someone. So, like doing the dishes, taking a walk, feeding the dog, bathing the dog on video 24/7. So you go to have a conversation, you don't even know that someone's listening to you on the other end because they're just on video 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Any opinion on that? Because I see it all the time.
uh, I get it. I mean, I love technology. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
love the fact that I have friends over in the UK that generally, if I wanted to talk to them, it was over the phone and I never got to see them. I like to see people's expressions. I think it furthers communication when you can see what somebody is looking like when you're talking to them. I can tell when I'm aggravating somebody and I need to shut up. Yeah. But
Fair enough.
when you're just talking on the phone, you don't get that. And you definitely don't get that when you're texting. I mean, at least you can kind of guess how somebody's reacting by their tone of their voice and how they're speaking. But text, how many arguments have been started because you don't know the context of what they were sending you? But to sit there on the phone why not get out and enjoy nature, enjoy the air, get out and really talk to someone. I think there's a benefit to being within a range of someone. There's like an energy that kind of goes back and forth between people, and we're losing that. So yeah.
I'm not going to get all scientific because I can't explain it well, but it's not even just some like woo woo hippie vibration stuff. It's legitimate science that we radiate and create energy and we catch energy. And when you're with someone, you're sharing without speaking, you share a moment together because of that energy exchange. So, yes, there's something super significant in actually physically being around people.
Oh, definitely. And then there's the social media thing.
Hmm.
Okay, if it's used the right way, it's a great tool. It really is. But if you use a screwdriver to hammer a nail in, you're using it the wrong way. And unfortunately, that's almost the way social media is being used now, which is why I spend more time on LinkedIn than I do Facebook, Instagram, any of that stuff. And even then, my LinkedIn time is not that long. But when you have people that just get on there and they start fights and say we're not going to get into politics, but that seems to be a hot button issue that creates rifts between people. And then
Hmm.
you've got those that hide behind a keyboard who feel bravery that they can say whatever they want because nobody's looking at them. That causes you to say, okay, well, is that person that I'm walking by one of those that gets on there and says all that stuff? So you can use a hammer to build a home, or you can use it to break down a home.
Let's do an example here. So, give me one of your favorite movies.
Ooh.
Anything that comes to mind, just a favorite movie.
My favorite movie of all time is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Imagine you hadn't seen it yet. You're excited to go. You're at the movie theater. You're
Mhm.
walking in. You got your popcorn. You got your girl or your son or someone by your side. You're walking into that movie. And walking outside of the movie is an 85-year-old woman with her 11-year-old sorry, that made zero sense. 11-year-old grandson or great grandson,
Mhm.
and they're walking out and she's like, I'm tired, that movie was too long, it was too loud. And he's like, that was stupid, it didn't make sense. Well, if you saw that 85-year-old and that 11-year-old talking crap about Raiders of the Lost Ark, would you hear them and see them and take their review and be like, oh, sounds like it's a bad movie, I'm going to turn around and leave? Or would you be like, I don't know if I can relate to an 85-year-old woman and an 11-year-old kid. Maybe I should take that review with a grain of salt.
uh,
Which one would you? You'd probably go on the movie, right?
I'm going to go see the movie.
Absolutely.
I'm one of those that, I've heard some movies that I've wanted to watch that people have just said these movies are garbage. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. And for some, I can understand the point, and I may not. But if it's something I really want to go see, I'm going to go see it.
So you're high in conviction in that regard. I respect you for that. I promise I have a point here. That 85-year-old and 11-year-old giving a movie review for something that wasn't made for them
Mm-hmm.
is the same as that keyboard coward. But
Mm-hmm.
since we don't know what they look like, since we don't know who they are, we
Mm-hmm.
take that review and we treat it as if our best friend said it to us. We get offended and triggered, but really it's someone who has no place in our life that we would never be able to relate to and never be friends with, making those comments. So if you think, oh, that's just an 85-year-old woman who's a little neurotic, or that's just an 11-year-old kid trying to troll his friends, you start realizing, oh, I should actually not give too much about what this person has to say because they're not my people. And that's okay. That's okay.
Oh yeah. Well, once again, I don't spend a whole lot of time on the social media. If I see something that I may not agree with,
Right.
I just go on and I don't reply and say a bunch of garbage. It's like, you know what? That's their opinion. They have it. I don't have to agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you, what are you, or should I say, how much time do you spend on social media?
I don't want to answer that question.
For some people, there's a reason why they're on social media.
Well, to give you an example, on Mondays, I spend about 11 hours on social media,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have a marketing firm.
My point.
How much time do I spend scrolling, commenting, doing anything not business related? Hardly any time at all. I love Facebook Messenger because all my friends are on Facebook, so it's easy to get a hold of them. I have friends that check Facebook more than they check their cell phone, or we can create a group and have a long conversation in a chat room. So let's say I'm making plans to go to a concert, I can invite 10 people all at once. But when it comes to scrolling social media, I don't do it. I still do it for my clients because my clients' prospects do it. And I need to be where the prospect is. Luckily, in my business, I love LinkedIn. I spend a ton of time there because it's positive, very business oriented. I'm lucky that I'm in a B2B field. So things like Instagram and Facebook doesn't really bring that many clients for me as much as LinkedIn could. But for businesses that are B2C, you need to be on Facebook. You need to be on Instagram. You potentially need to be on TikTok. You at the very least should do your best to hang out where the people you're trying to meet hang out, because then you'll meet more of those people.
Hence the reason why I'm on LinkedIn.
There you go.
I love LinkedIn. I love the fact that the people that I would need for my show to help inspire others are, I'm going to find them on LinkedIn. Have you tried Alignable?
Um, yes and no. I do not have a profile set up. I do get emails saying people are adding me, but I've never actually utilized the tool.
It's like LinkedIn,
Hmm.
but it is more networking than I think you get on LinkedIn. If you use it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I've met some really great folks on there. One gentleman that lives not too far from here who was on Broadway has wrote plays and had them produced.
Wow.
Wrote music that Barbara Streisand recorded, and he even
Wow.
writes books and all that because somebody invited me on Alignable, and like if you use it the right way, it is a good tool.
Do you get sales pitches on there the way you get them on LinkedIn?
I don't get any sales pitches on there.
So it's less of the fluff crap you kind of get on LinkedIn sometimes.
Yeah, that gets aggravating, especially when you've told them no and they continuously bombard you. And I'm fine, I know you can just go in and block them, but the point being is I get on here to, for the specific reason. And I know some of them are on there because they're trying to build up their business or whatever. And I appreciate that, but you're not going to get me as a client if you continuously send me those junk mails in
Hmm.
the messaging service. So,
Do you, as a podcaster, do you get a lot of messages from podcast promoters?
all the time.
I will promote Apple's podcast link, maximum downloads 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
1 week free trial, send me your link.
Yeah.
Literally, what I just did is like a direct quote. It's in broken English. I don't know how they promote it. My knowing kind of marketing and some of this stuff, I think they just use ClickBanks where they've got a team of people just clicking on links, clicking play, and like it's not real listeners.
Yeah.
I'm on a tangent, but there's so
No,
much of that stuff on LinkedIn. It blows my mind.
oh my gosh. You know what I can't stand? And I know
Mm.
this is not related, but I get text messages and it'll be hey, so and so, I don't know, whatever. Do you remember what we did last week? Or, some stupid message. And the person obviously is not, I'm not the person that the name they're calling out, and I'll say, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. And then I get, oh, thank you. And then about 5 minutes later, you really sound like a great person. I think you're somebody that I should get to know. And I'm like, really? Are you kidding me?
I got a text like that the other day. They're, they're like, hey, is this Elizabeth? Blah, 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 blah. Sent me a photo.
Oh, they
And
sent you a photo.
the photo, like, it wasn't like a sexual photo. It was very much like casual business photo. But the woman in the photo was pretty. And I'm thinking like they're intentionally messaging me, knowing that they don't know me. They use the photo to try to lure you into conversation, and they're beyond apologetic for missing or having the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
I could have played that one out. This literally happened 48 hours ago. I just blocked the person because I knew that it was just going to be a scam. But the level of it didn't seem scammy. Like the level of customer experience they're
Mm-hmm.
putting into scams these days is just blowing my mind. I
It wasn't a long-haired Asian woman, was it?
think it was, yeah.
That's the one I got.
You got so how is that even possible?
I I don't know, but
I'm seeing if I deleted it or not,
I
and if not, I'm gonna pull it up and we can confirm.
I deleted it and I blocked them. It's
No
absolutely.
way did the same long-haired it's got to be the same person.
She wearing a yellow blouse.
Rings a bell. To be honest with you, I can't find it. I was hoping I could just pull it up real quick, but I get enough spam calls that it's actually hard to.
Oh man, I probably get 20 spam calls a day.
All right, you know what? I'm done checking. Look at me scrolling my phone in the middle of a podcast interview. Who am I to talk?
They'll say, "Oh, my name is such and such, and what's your name? I'd like to get to know you." And I'm like, "No, thank you. I'm a married man, and I don't know you. You don't know me, and I don't know why you would want to get to know somebody you've never even seen."
Right.
So,
You know, this is kind of like a long extension of what we were talking about before, but maybe if we were all kinder to each other, we helped someone in need, we kept in touch with our relatives, we kept in
mm,
touch with our friends. When they got a message like that, they wouldn't be in such a lonely, manipulable place that it would actually work. Because I
it's
feel like
true.
a lot of people that respond to messages like that actually do need a friend.
Hmm.
But it's because the world's outing them and not being friendly to them that they fall into that trap.
Well, and I don't mean to pick on older folks, but you've got that widow who lives
Yeah.
alone. She's genuinely wanting to help someone, or she, like you said, they're already lonely.
Yeah.
They fall for that stuff.
They do.
That's the ones they're targeting. Not so much, you know, my wife would say, no, that sounds like a scam.
Hmm.
So I have someone to tell me that. So yeah, I agree with you. We should spend more time talking to our relatives and our friends. I want to stress, especially those already alone.
Already alone. Yeah.
We, as a society, just need to care more for others. When you get on social media and it's all about look at me, look at me, look at me. When I was growing up, I was always told to help others, like the older couple next door. You see that they need help getting groceries in the house, or mow their yard, pick up limbs, whatever it is. When a hurricane came through, we would go and we would help the neighbors chop down their trees and saw them up, haul them off, clean up everything. If they need to repair their roof, everybody helped each other. We should be more like servants to others instead of always saying, "Oh, look at me, just care
Hmm.
about my feelings. I don't need to care about your feelings." And that's a very bad direction this world is going in.
Yeah. And, and social media, since we're on it, that's only a 1% fraction at most of their day.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine two models go to on vacation to Haiti. Beautiful vacation, beautiful views. She's been cheating on him and he's been disconnected from her for months now. And that's why she started cheating, because she feels like she's not getting the love she deserves. And they go on a vacation and all they do is fight the entire time. But all you see is those high res, potentially photoshopped, filtered photos of them in beautiful scenery.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they're doing is, this is marketing, and it's not the kind of marketing I go for. They're creating an image in your mind that it really just masks the reality that they're miserable inside.
Oh yeah. You see the ones that are in the tropical paradise, but they're probably living out of a trailer in Pasadena, Texas.
Or there's actually a video online of, I don't know who it was. It's just a quick clip I saw. She showed up to after some of the protests for Black Lives Matter. She showed up, went to people that were actually helping in that scenario. Took a hammer, took a couple things. Quite literally, they show her holding it and posing for a photo, and then she got back in the car and left.
I saw
So
that.
she was pretending. She was creating an image in people's minds, but if anything, she was the polar opposite of the people that were actually helping in that scenario.
I kind of did the same thing. We were at a venue down the road, and I don't know. You know who Dio is, right?
I'm not sure. I probably do.
Well, anyway, heavy metal singer.
Oh yeah,
Dio.
Rodney James
James.
Dio. Okay.
Ronnie James Dio. Yeah. Well, anyway,
Got it.
Vivian Campbell was one of his main guitar players, and him and a couple other guys and the lead singer from who was it? I think the Offspring. They all got together. They kind of built I guess you'd say, a tribute band to Ronnie James Dio. And so they were playing, and I was like, freaking cool. Gotta go. So we're there, and there was a lady who's, I think it's her son-in-law, was in one of the other bands. And so she had seats literally next to the stage. At any given point, you weren't 10 feet away from Vivian Campbell.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there, and my wife got to talking to her. The lady invites us to sit at her table. So we get to sit there, and we're right on the stage. And I'm taking pictures, and I'm telling you, it looks like I'm right up in his face. So I guess in a way that is marketing. Hey, look at me. I'm special. I'm on stage with Vivian Campbell.
Mm-hmm. It is. And there's nothing wrong with it. Your marketing should be a direct reflection. I started with this. I want to know who people are, who you are at the core, not who you're trying to pretend to be. If your marketing and what you post is a direct reflection of who you actually are, that's a great thing, and people love it. If you like luxury cars and you're wealthy and you post a picture of the car, I'm cool with that. You like luxury cars. But if you're renting that vehicle to create a facade of wealth when you're actually poor, but you're using that vehicle to sell products that honestly you shouldn't even be selling, because you don't, if you're that good, you wouldn't have to sell the informational product. You would just do it. In a scenario like that, that's inauthentic. So if I'm front row at a big show and I get a picture, I'm not doing it for sales. Is if you love something and you do it, and if it's in alignment with who you are and you want to post it, but don't go around being fake and being someone you're not, because what ends up happening, this happens in everything. It happens in business. It happens in romantic relationships. How long can you pretend like you're someone you're not in a romantic relationship?
I know exactly what you mean.
And why would you want to start any relationship being distrustful? Because the moment I realize you're being distrustful, can I trust you at all? Could I do business with you? Can I be with you? Now, we all have flaws, but if you're starting off a business relationship, any kind of relationship, with distrust, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to work with you. That's just my opinion.
Have you ever had anybody try to get you to do something that may not be so I don't want to say I don't want to say it's not legal, but just not moral. They try to pump their business.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but I'll
Of
just give
course.
you just a generic example.
Mhm.
Kyle, we've already been on this is let's just imagine it's a sales pitch under the presentation. We've already invested 45 minutes together. I don't know if I already told you this, but this promotion ends tomorrow, and I only have one exclusive slot because I can only work with one roofer. And you know this, you're from a big city. There's plenty of roofers I could work with. I'll fill that slot by the end of the day. So either you want to be that exclusive roofer that gets all the benefits, or your competitor is going to be that person. I'm not here to put you on the spot. I just wanted to be transparent with you. That sounds kind of sexy. Everything I just said could have been total BS. And that's
Right.
what I say to every single person. Just one, maybe there is just one slot, but the sale doesn't end today. My commission ends today.
Mm,
Tomorrow's a new month, so I'm trying to hit my bonus. There's so much of that in this world. And
yeah.
when business operate under that kind of deceitful, borderline ethical, come on, man. There's a better way to do things. But that sounded like a great pitch if it was true.
Yeah. Well, that's the way a lot of salesmen come at you is they make it sound like, oh, you got to get this now because it's never going to happen again or whatever. Dude, you're going to be in front of another Walmart 2 weeks from now giving the same pitch. Don't give me that garbage.
Hmm.
But like you said, if I can't trust you off the bat, I'll never trust you when it comes to
I've
business.
I've lost business because I've been like, Kyle, I don't think you're ready. I think you'll lose money because we're not in a place where this is going to work.
Hmm.
Call me once A, B, and C's been accomplished. And people will be like, well, no, I need your help getting through A, B, and C. That's not my strong suit. It's not my sweet spot. Once A, B, and C is accomplished, then let's talk.
Hmm.
I lost that sale. That sale probably or potentially will come back to me long term, or it doesn't. But what's the point in getting a sale for someone I can't help that's end up they're going to get burned because I created a false story of what they would get from working with me. And then
Exactly.
I've got a negative review, which isn't a keyboard coward. It's authentic because I screwed up. I don't want to screw up like that. So there's two ways to do business. You can be inauthentic and get sales, but is there longevity? Or you can be authentic, maybe move a little slower, but take more people up to you while you rise to the top rather than, climbing on top of bodies to get there, actually bring everybody up with you as you grow. I mean, that's just my mentality on everything in life.
We've become a society where you can just pick up your phone, hit a few buttons, order something, and it's at your door either in a few hours or,
Hmm.
or a couple of days. We're just used to everything getting here quick. And how can you think that you're going to be stable if you do that try to get rich quick thing overnight? I've always been told you have to build it up.
Hmm.
Some people get lucky. Look, the guy that sold pet rocks back in the 70s. I mean, it's a freaking rock, but he made $1 million. I mean, it came to him quick, but it also didn't last.
Yeah.
I think you need, number one, if you go at it slower, you pick up a lot more along the way that you'll need for the future. If you
Hmm.
try to get it done overnight, it's going to overwhelm you and you're going to lose everything.
There's such a balance. Because another thing I would say to someone is don't live your life in fear.
Mm.
A lot of things that cost money aren't just cost, it's an investment. And I've done things as a marketing firm, even. I've tried different strategies that are outside of what I sell, but I'm
Mhm.
trying different things. And I've lost 100% of that investment. But that investment was training which allows me to do better in the future and serve my clients better because I personally invested in training by screwing up. But I took a shot on something that I thought could work. It didn't. It was an investment in training. So don't be afraid to take action, but don't feel like you have to take action this moment just because someone wants you to pull their credit card out. It's a completely different conversation. And there isn't a quick fix to most of your marketing problems.
That's true.
There really isn't. Especially, I had a person, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, did a great job. He was getting a bunch of phone calls. He doesn't even have a voicemail box set up.
Oh, no.
So when he tells me that he's not getting business, that could be true. I don't know. Did you pick up the phone?
That would help.
I can't fix that problem. I can fix one of your problems, which is lead generation, but I can't fix acquisition and fulfillment. So it's not as simple as getting on the phone, ordering Grubhub and getting everything, delivered to your door. You actually have to put some investment into it yourself to get things done.
Yeah, answering the phone is a definite plus.
It's a starter, yeah.
Jeez. Now, what about the bumps in the road that you've hit along your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I already said I've wasted money on things that didn't work. A lot of the bumps in the road have just been my own wrongdoing. I don't always like talking about it, but I've come to the fact that, my father died of alcoholism. And he was very young. I mean, I'm 31 right now. He wasn't tremendously old when he passed away. And I have relived some of what he's done myself. And nothing sucks more than having the answer, knowing where the North Star is, knowing where you could be going, but then getting in your own way through substance abuse, laziness, and a lot of things. There's anxiety, there's stress, there's trauma, there's things that hold us back. But I had to learn to stop blaming others and stop making excuses because I was the one getting in my own way. And we can get into this. It'd be a completely different podcast. There's probably at least 50 occasions that I could just name off the cuff that I would have done it differently if I had the mindset I have today. But I was too busy worrying about what car, what friend, what drink, what fix, and worrying about all the things that people told me I should have and told me that I needed when I wasn't actually doing things for myself. I was doing things for other people and I was making myself miserable for it. I think we'll go through that in a lot of different ways, but I held myself back real bad. I was my own worst enemy.
Oh God, I'm there with you, brother. All the years of drinking and drugs and running around, I did so much. I don't know how I'm still alive, other than I told the doctor I'm still here because mean people don't die.
I'm happy you're here, brother. I think you're doing great.
Appreciate that, really do. We have to keep pushing forward. The best thing that you can do is my inner circle. It's getting bigger, but it used to be way out here, and now it's kind of moved in because there's so many folks that I'd hang out with that were into the alcohol and the drugs, and they still are. They still think that we're back in high school, and I'm sorry, we're not there anymore. And I love them from afar, but I don't hang out with them because I want to succeed, and I don't. They're right here, and they're going to stay right here. If I wanted to be right there, I would still be there. Instead, I want to be way out in front.
Now, how do you get the conviction and self-control to do that? Because a lot of people, myself included, I struggle with it because I'm still a big music guy, and it's not like I'm out binge drinking every weekend, but I'm going to a show, I'm cracking too many beers. That's not uncommon. I'll be vulnerable to say I still do that more than I probably should. How do you have the conviction or self-control to Yeah, to be that resilient when there is a lot of people, the devil's trying to get you to ride the bus with them.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. The thing for me is when I was 36 years old, I was drinking really heavy. And I'm talking, I would drink half a beer and then I'd fill it back up with Jack Daniels or Seagrams. And it used to be just an every weekend. And then it got to be several times during the week. And then got to be every time I came home. And I ended up having a heart attack at 36 years old.
Wow.
And so I found out I was diabetic. My A1C was off the charts. My cholesterol, triglycerides, everything was way too high. I mean, in fact, I shouldn't be here right now, other than the fact, I guess God wanted me here to tell my story. But that was when I first stopped drinking. And when I say first stopped drinking, I went a while and then I started hanging around. I got away from the people that I'd been hanging out with. In fact, I went as far as I moved to a couple of cities over just so I wasn't there with them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a new group of friends and they would drink. And I was trying so hard not to, but I got pissed off one night, had that first drink, and before you know it, I was back to drinking again. Well, I'd gotten into a pretty good relationship. There was problems there, but I was making it worse because I wouldn't stop drinking. And when she left, it got real lonely. It got real lonely. I ended up also I got custody of my boys after my first divorce,
Mm.
and I had to be a dad. I needed to stop thinking about my own pleasures. My I keep saying uh, trying to find my own enjoyment in ignoring my kids. That was what I was doing, and I couldn't do that anymore. I had to be a good dad, a strong dad. When I put down that bottle and started to really invest my time into my children, I saw them flourish. When they left, my youngest son is a nurse. My oldest son, he has a license to be an esthetician, and he's making pretty good money doing that. My daughter, she's a manager at a bank. So my dad told me if I didn't go to college and I didn't do what I should have done, I was going to end up being a ditch digger. Well, he wasn't lying because I worked for the city in the water park department and the sewer department. So
Pretty close.
I dug ditches. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and then I asked God for a second chance to have a relationship. Met my wife that I have now, and I can't imagine my life without her. I don't want to screw that up. And so I know if I start drinking, I'm going to screw it up because I know I'm a jerk when I'm drinking.
Mm.
And when I first get that buzz, I'm the life of the party. But once I get past that, then I get to be that jerk that you want to toss out on his keister. So, and also I want to be successful. I spent all those years, working for the city, which was a great job. It allowed me to build up a pretty good retirement. Disease hit me. I'm kind of stuck at home, but I don't want to just lay there and become a vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily just sit on the couch and watch TV all day. I get disability. I get my retirement check. But why would I make that my career when I could do this?
Yeah.
So I can help other people. I don't want to be here just for myself. I'm thankful for the things that I have, but if I don't appreciate what I have and show compassion for others and try to help them get to where they're at, it's all hollow. It means nothing. One of the things that I say on some of my podcasts is that gratitude changes your attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Be thankful for what you have. You can't expect God to give you any more if you don't appreciate what you have now. It's like the spoiled brat, eventually that parents will be like, I give him everything in the world, but still he doesn't want to listen. You quit buying all that junk after a while. At least I hope you would.
I couldn't agree more. I'm lost of words. First off, I appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable with all of us. Gratitude's been huge for me. Um, yeah, I got a gratitude journal every morning. And I realized that I'd give away everything to live another day, another year, another 10 years, another 50 years. So all the money and all the success and all the fill in the blank
Mhm.
doesn't mean crap if you don't get an opportunity to live another day. So I wake up every single day tremendously grateful for the fact that I just freaking woke up. And then as you open your eyes, you start seeing tens of hundreds of things to be grateful for just surrounding you. I've got it just turned off, so it's I'm a little mad at it right now, but I got AC blowing on me right as we're having this conversation. A lot of people don't have that luxury. And
That's
that's
true.
not beyond me to realize that I have it so good. I have it so good. Even the worst of my days, even when I was in that place, I was drinking nearly a handle a weekend. Even when I was in that place, I had a way out. I had a new opportunity. I had a new day. So I agree, man. Gratitude's everything.
Yes, it is. You can make that one decision, drinking, that affect your life from that day forward, whether it's getting behind the wheel, saying the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I used to do is I would get drunk and then I'd want to go get hard drugs. I can't say the name of them on here, but I would want to go get these hard drugs and put them up my nose, and I could have lost my children. They could have
Yeah,
been taken away from me because I wasn't being the dad that I needed to be, because
right.
I was being selfish. You can lose it all. I mean, imagine you end up getting drunk one day and then all of a sudden somebody will say, I need to have a meeting with you, and you act a fool, do that wrong thing, and then word gets out, everything's gone. Just takes that one bad decision.
Yeah, I mean, you never do. Someone could be getting bullied at school and someone creates a rumor that isn't true. So then
Mhm.
CPS or Child Protective Services shows up to address the concern because they're supposed to. They show up, they knock on the door, you've got an empty bottles, you got, powder on the table and you're passed out. Your
Mhm.
kids are getting taken away.
Exactly.
Even from a rumor or a lie that wasn't true. Well, guess what? That wasn't true, but something else was.
Another thing is, say you bring somebody home one night because you're
Mm,
drunk, and that person either robs you or does something to your children, and you were out of it because you were drunk or on drugs.
right.
All kinds of things happen. I mean, of course, anything can happen even if you're sober, but you have a
Yeah.
better chance of some of that stuff happening when you're drunk. So I don't miss it. I really don't. I thought that I was going to have a hard time, quite honestly. When I even look at alcohol anymore, and I think about those times that I drank too much and how awful I felt the next day, I don't miss it. I enjoy spending time with my grandkids. So that's another
Mm,
thing. If I'd have kept drinking, I don't think my kids would have a relationship with me right now. I'd miss out on all my grandkids.
right.
That, that's my conviction.
Well, you're kicking butt. We're
I'm
talking
trying.
all the things that could happen. Well, guess what? And I'm sure it hasn't been only sunshine and rainbows, but all these things that could happen didn't happen because you took action to avoid it. And I believe everything life's a probability. It's not, oh, I had bad luck. I only had 4 beers. Nah, you drove drunk. There's a probability of getting pulled over. If you don't drive drunk, there's a 0% probability of getting a DWI, but there's still a probability of getting pulled over. So everything's a probability, and we can kind of stack it in our favor. But even if it's a 1 in 100 chance it happens to me, it's not God's fault it happened to me. It's not your fault it's my fault that I gave myself a 1% chance of it happening to me.
Mhm.
And then you take responsibility for that. You can start doing what you did way better than I do at this time in my life. Do what you did and change your actions, which changes your result, which changes your future. And now you get to be with your grandkids, whether or not they're puking on you all morning.
Yeah, everyone, that's what happened. My grandson got sick, and I had to get a shower in quick before we started the show.
Second shower of the day.
You know what? It's still worth it, though.
Yeah.
It is. I would rather spend that time with my grandson with him puking on me than to never get to see him. That love can change a lot of things, and if you stop focusing on just yourself all the time and you focus that love on others, your life will change in so many ways. So many ways. I'm gonna have to get off my soapbox now.
I'm happy we took it here. I've been on a lot of podcasts. I can talk about marketing and all that jazz all day. Um, One thing that's always relevant and important to me is I can give someone tips, tricks, strategies, tactics, a framework, but the framework doesn't work if they don't. So, what we're talking about today is that inner work. It's
Mhm.
that taking care of yourself, leading self that allows you to take all the framework and implement it. So I'm happy we didn't just talk about framework all day because a lot of people, they try to do the framework, but they're doing what I did and they're getting in their own way and nothing's working because they're they're out of touch. You know what I mean? So this is important stuff. I'm happy we went here.
Hmm. I know there's somebody out there that's gone through the same thing. They're going
Oh
through the
yeah.
same thing. They just need some kind of hope. And that's
Mm.
what we're trying to bring to them. Say, there is hope out there. Things can change.
If these two bozos can figure it out.
If I can do it, anybody can do it, right? Well, I'm seriously, I told you I could easily be on that couch, vegetating, watching television, wasting my
Yeah.
life away. Instead, I chose to do this. And now, not only am I earning money, but I'm also meeting so many wonderful people. I'm making so many great relationships. I'm making a lot of friendships. People I never in a million years would have thought that I'd have their phone number and call them right now.
Hmm.
All because of the choices that I made.
That's right.
But do you have a website?
Yeah, I got a bunch of them.
Do you?
I'm pretty boring though. Easiest way to find me, the business name's Balbert Marketing, B as in Ben, Albert as in Albert Einstein. So B Albert, like Albert Einstein, but a higher IQ. So balbertmarketing.com. And then if you can click all links in the menu, or if you do that slash ALLLINKS, there's a lot of L's in there, but balbertmarketing.com slash all links. It's a one pager. So I've got a podcast, I've got a marketing business, I've got a fractional CMO, I do videos, I used to have a music podcast that's there. All of it is balbertmarketing.com slash all links. But another thing that's there, honestly, though, is my calendar link and my contact form. So no requirement there, but no, don't feel like you need to be a stranger. Anything from connecting to LinkedIn to listening to setting up a time to chat. I'm good with any of it.
Where they catch your podcast?
Anywhere podcasts are found, Real Business Connections network. So Real Business Connections network. But if you type in Real Business Connections anywhere, Google to any of your apps, it'll come up.
Oh, I use Buzzsprout, and it shoots it out to all the different, like a
Exactly.
Stitcher and Spotify, iHeartRadio. I love that. I love that. Actually got a message from Apple Podcasts saying you need to complete this form to
Okay.
get your money. And I'm like, what? I was monetized
What?
on Apple Podcast and didn't know it.
Congrats, making it big time. Dang.
I was excited about YouTube, and now I'm on Apple Podcast. Sweet.
I'm gonna put one plug here,
Okay.
single plug. So Javon McCormick, if you go to Real Business Connections, scroll down and find it's from L. It'll say LST for Learn, Speak, Teach.
Mhm.
LST Javon McCormick. That man was born. So he's half black, half white.
Mhm.
White mom who was a single mother on welfare, food stamps, literally would have to get loans, like weekly loans. It's asinine that they do this. They give you a weekly loan. What happens to someone who gets a weekly loan? They can't pay it back.
Nope.
So, and then his father was a black pimp who had endless prostitutes. He has 23, I think, brothers and sisters. And basically, his father was abusive physically. Some of the prostitutes have molested him, all sorts of stuff. So imagine coming from a black pimp father, a poor white mother who at one point was one of the prostitutes, and being raised by your mom, and your dad, drives you around in a nice car and never really does anything for you. Black people don't accept you. White people don't accept you. This man is the CEO of the largest self-publishing company in the world.
Oh, wow.
So if you liked this conversation, again, I'm plugging, I know I'm doing it. I'd listen to his story, not for me, not for Ben Albert. You can actually just Google Javon McCormick and skip the Real Business Connections part. Learn from that man, because what he's been through and the level of success and leadership he's achieved is just so inspirational, but that anybody can get out of anything, even if it's the depths of hell, walking around with plastic bags on your feet during the winter because you can't afford shoes. That man's now a multi tens of millionaire, all through grit and doing some of the stuff we talked about today. So
Wow.
Javon McCormick, man, again, you don't even have to listen to my show. Go read his book. He's a kick-ass dude. Javon McCormick.
I need him on my show.
Yeah. I can make an intro. He can be a little difficult to reach, but he's a servant leader, man. If he has time, he'll come on for sure.
I would love that. Please. I'd really like to talk to that guy.
Yeah, man.
So, and social media is all Ben Albert, or do you have it under something else?
It's mostly Ben Albert, Balbert Marketing. Again, the balbertmarketing.com/all links. I recommend that just because all my social profiles are in one place. I'm a firm believer is if you actually want to find me, you will. So Google search me, Google Balbert Marketing. Google search that, you'll find me. There is another Balbert. He's the defensive coordinator of the Duke Blue Devils. And of course, that Balbert ranks higher than me, but I'm coming for him, man. I know you might be a one of the best college football teams defensive coordinators. I'm coming for that, Balbert. So if you find an African American defensive coordinator, that's not me, but Ben Albert, Balbert Marketing, that's me.
This has been awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on.
No, I appreciate you having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm happy we went to where we went, and I really hope we added value into people's lives.
I hope so. Someone out there needs hope, and I hope that we were able to provide that for you today. Not either seek help, message me. I'll be glad to point you in the right direction if I can't help you. But we're here to try to help you. So I'm gonna leave it at that, Mr. Albert. I hope you come back on in the future.
Yeah, Kyle, I appreciate the opportunity. You tell me when I'll be here. I know I can't be every guest, but I could talk to you all day. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, didn't all your links also on your LinkedIn?
probably, I love LinkedIn. Come hang out with me there. I think I do have a bunch of links on LinkedIn too.
Because I want to add it to the description of the video so people can find you a little easier.
Dude, I post on LinkedIn 5 to 6 days a week, and I treat my DMs like it's a text. So as long as you don't say, "Hi, I have podcast promotion capabilities to promote Apple Podcasts," we're good to go. Say hello, and I'll be happy to meet you.
I also want to thank all of you out there. If you are new to the channel, I sure appreciate you stopping by. I hope you come back. Hit that subscribe button. And for those of you who are regular to the channel, it's because of you that I get to do this. I get to have people like Ben come on the show, and that your support means everything to me. So until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network